What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV, kicking off today's content with a commentary that I've been planning for a while now. I've been pushing it back as I've been covering other things, and I'm just glad that they haven't patched what they had intended to patch by this point, so we can talk about it in today's video. So we're discussing the competition playlist here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, if you have no idea what a competition playlist is, I can't exactly blame you. It is the least played playlist or category of playlists in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare by far. Absolutely nobody plays these games, to the point where you can sit in a lobby by yourself for like 20 to 25 minutes before you're matched with one other player. Before I made this commentary, I tried out one of the game modes in this playlist yet again, and I sat in a lobby for, no joke, 33 minutes. I timed it. 33 minutes before I started a game. Doesn't help that it will not start a game until you have a full lobby. You have to have 8 players in the lobby before it will start any game in any of these playlists. Pretty bonkers, but the competition playlist is a 4v4 selection of 4 different game modes. So if you tab all the way over to the right in your playlist select screen, you'll find the competition category housing Uplink, Hardpoint, Capture the Flag, and Search and Destroy. Now, Hardpoint and Search and Destroy can be found in the standard playlist and played in the traditional 6v6 fashion. The only difference with the competition playlist for those game modes as of now is that they are a 4v4 in competition. Capture the Flag and Uplink, on the other hand, you cannot play these game modes in the standard playlist select. Capture the Flag and Uplink, the only place in the entire game where you can find these two game modes is the competition playlists. Now, here's my problem with that. The competition playlist is so underplayed, and you need to win 50 games. 50 wins. Not just play 50 games, I'm talking win 50 games. And for the average player, that's like 100 plus games each in Uplink and Capture the Flag. If you didn't know, each and every week I talk about the featured playlist. Usually there's a featured playlist like Drop Zone or Hyper Team Deathmatch, and each of these featured playlists is really great for completing a challenge or two. Well, here's my challenge of the week, is completing Capture the Flag wins and Uplink wins. We have had really difficult challenges come through, like Demolition came through, and you had to win 50 games of Demolition in the week that it was here for. Even that was more doable because it was a feature and more people were playing that game mode. When it comes to Capture the Flag and Uplink, you have to win 50 games of each, and nobody plays these games. Like I said, 33 minutes to get into one game. Guess how many people rage quit at the end of that game? At least 6, and then you have to sit there for another 30 minutes while you find the rest of the team. It's just very difficult to find games in these game modes, and it's going to be forever to complete your 50 wins in each one. So here's my thoughts. Why don't we just scrap the competition playlist and move these game modes into the standard section for one, or we can move them into rotating features. To be honest with you, I don't know why these game modes aren't in the standard rotation anyways. Capture the Flag and Uplink are iconic Call of Duty game modes. Uplink has been with us since Advanced Warfare. Capture the Flag has been with us since like Modern Warfare 2 or something like that. These game modes have been around for a long time, and they are big game modes. They play these game modes in CWL, in CoD World League, in MLG. They play these game modes for the big bucks. So I get that they're in the competition playlist because these are competitive, quote-unquote competitive game modes, but people like playing these game modes anyways. Like standard people like to play these game modes, and they should just be in the standard playlist because of it. These should be 6v6 game modes. It's so difficult to play these games 4v4 when you're trying to find a lobby and there's nobody playing these game modes, and when you do find a lobby, it's sweaty fairy princesses flying through the air and shooting you before you even know they're there. So you really have you're going to have a very difficult time completing your wins for Capture the Flag and Uplink. They should be standard playlists, or they should be featured playlists. They should rotate through like all the other ones. I know there are a bunch of rotated playlists already, and it drives me nuts just as much as it does you guys. I like the excitement of having a new game mode for the week, but at the same time, it's like, oh my god, I just wish they would add in these game modes. I've been waiting for Grind to be added to this game for so long, it's disgusting. Like, there's one challenge that I need to get for all of my heroics in operations. One challenge. And how do you do that challenge? You need Grind, which isn't a standard playlist. You have to wait for it to show up. It drives me nuts that's in the game, that you have to wait for the featured playlist to come around. it keeps people into the game. So I like how they did that. They kind of tricked people into staying in the game longer. Like, you have to wait until grind shows up. So if you want to get your challenges done, fuck you. You got to wait. It's kind of tricky how they do that. It's kind of shady. But at the same time, like, just let us get our challenges done. So that's what I'm saying here with the competition playlist is we need Capture the Flag, we need Uplink moved into features, or we need them moved into standard playlists so people can actually get their wins in these things. When they are more prominent in the playlist select screen, when they are on the featured playlist, more people will play them. Here's my ultimatum. If they're all hot and bothered to keep these game modes in the competition playlist in a 4v4 setting, and with other rules that we'll discuss in just a moment, they can still feature a rotating selection of Capture the Flag and Uplink in a 6v6 classic style in the weekly feature. They can just bring it out as a weekly feature and say, you know what, here is Capture the Flag, the legit old school Capture the Flag. You can go and play 6v6 and get your wins this week. That's what they should be doing. They shouldn't just be saying, you know what, if you want to get you 50 wins, you got to go into the competition playlist and sit there for 30 minutes waiting for a couple people to play. So that is the first big problem with the competition playlist. Now, that's not it. That's not it. There's a second problem here, and this problem is just as massive. They are completely changing the rules in the competition playlist. I've said as much in this commentary, but the competition playlist is on its last legs. It's on life support, and Infinity Ward wants to pull the plug, or at least it seems like Infinity Ward wants to pull the plug with the way they've been treating the game modes recently. Earlier in this commentary, I mentioned how the only difference between a standard and competition playlist is that in standard you're playing 6v6 and competition you're playing 4v4, almost like a league play from previous Call of Duty games. Well, that's just not the case anymore, and in fact, it hasn't been the case in quite some time. They already made changes to this game mode. They had to revert them so that they could perfect those changes. I'll explain it all in depth. In January of 2017, the competition playlist was changed forever. I tried to go back through the patch notes and find the exact date of this change, but it seems like they've removed this portion of the patch notes because they did revert the change shortly afterwards, which I'll explain in a moment. But for now, the days of the only difference of the competition playlist being a 4v4 playstyle were long gone. In fact, the entire rule set of every game mode in the category was changed. Uplink, Hardpoint, Capture the Flag, Search and Destroy. All four had completely new rule sets matching CWL or COD World League rule sets now. Now, I believe I speak for most of the community when I say I have no frickin' idea how to play anything CWL. I don't know how to play COD World League Capture the Flag. I don't know how to play COD World League Uplink. When it comes to competitive and competitions in Call of Duty, they changed the rules so much that it isn't even the same game anymore. These are supposed to be the best players in the world, but they're the best at their own little version of the game that nobody else plays. They're the best at playing a fake Call of Duty, in my mind. So when it comes to adding in COD World League rules into different game modes, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would they include COD World League rules when 90% of players don't watch esports? 90% of players don't know what COD World League rules are. I think a lot more players know the classic Capture the Flag rules, the classic Uplink rules, and stuff like that. Anyways, the COD World League rule set would be soon removed from the game and the original rule set reinstated to stay until this point. So January 16th, they removed the COD World League rule set because they needed to perfect a friendly fire penalty. They said it would be back very soon, but it's been a month and it still has not surfaced. I guess that's just Infinity Ward's definition of soon. I mean, we've all seen the coming soon on the leaderboards and the combat records and the custom emblems, all that good stuff. So that's just their definition of soon, I suppose, but it will be back in the game. These rules will be back in the game eventually, and they're only going to make the competition playlist worse. I think the competition playlist is underplayed as it is, and although the COD World League rules might incite some players to play the competition playlist, I don't think that it will make the playlist any better. In fact, it'll make it harder for most players to get their wins in the playlist, and it'll just be a sweaty, try-hard mess. They're just going to be like a bunch of sweaty tryhards in there, and then the rest of the world is just going to be like, well, we're not going to play that game mode. It's still going to be underplayed. It's going to be a very strange situation when they do add those CoD World League rules back in. So essentially, guys, this whole video, TLDR, rant coming to a close. What's so wrong with the competition playlist? Well, the competition playlist isn't actually that bad. I like the 4v4 style. It's pretty intimate. It's just like a really cool action-packed game mode when you can bring in a squad and have a good time. The only thing is, it's so out of the way and so unknown that many players do not play it. It's going to make it very difficult to complete your capture the flag and uplink wins because you need 50 wins in each of those game modes. The addition of CWL rules will not help either, as it will make it much more difficult for the standard player, the base casual player, to complete their wins, because it will just be a sweaty tryhard fest. And in the first place, it's so hard to find a regular game in these game modes. I think they should bring Uplink and Capture the Flag into the standard fold, give them a 6v6 standard rules playset, or just put them into the feature as a standard 6v6 featured playlist that rotates through the weekly like the other game modes in this game. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. Let me know what you think about this whole competition game mode fiasco in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at BlackTideTV for all of the latest updates. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.